Hi there. Welcome to the Talking Drum for today. We like to begin by saying that there's always a need for discussion, a need for communication and exchange of ideas, between polarities of opinions, and try to achieve a semblance of balance in understanding from all the parties that may be involved in a particular topic of debate. And therefore, in the annals of mankind, there always are times when our collective wellness rides on our meeting, the urgent need to talk together. In a world increasingly pushed apart by our differences, there's no time like now to beat our drums of cooperation and dialogue. Welcome to the Talking Drum Show for deep dives into the issues, news, and truths that define our common humanity. Join us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And come, let's reason together. Today's topic is ripped out from the Nigerian headlines. Nigeria is a West African regional power and is the world's most populous black nation. And it's a powerhouse of human and national resources. I like to think that as Nigerian turns, so the world turns. Our well-being here, riding on the wings of the butterfly effect, intrinsically linked to the well-being of the world itself. Nigeria is a developing polity, a member of the Global South, as it is ranked, and it practices a representative democracy. In that wise, she recently concluded presidential elections, which conduct and results are still mired in controversy. One of the party, the All Progressive Congress, APC presidential candidate, has emerged as the presidential elect, and a case is currently before the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, brought forth by the APC opposing parties during the election, the PDP and the LP. Amidst all of these post-election brouhaha is the overarching issue of the health status of the presidential elect, who has recently just returned from a stint in Europe, ostensibly for health reasons. Of course, given this conspiracy of circumstances, the Nigerian media space, as well as the individual discussion for is buzz with the implications of these, the totality of these realities. Which way to go, Nigeria? Which way to go? Joining me today to have our usual, in-house discussion of these issues are my co-host, Godwin Iwejina, and hopefully we'll have Judge Chukwu joining also. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okafor. Maybe, yes, a lot of things are blowing out in the media space, and one thing we observe in as we go along in our lives and our existence is that human beings are curious. People want to know what's happening. People want to be abreast with situations. People want to keep updating themselves. So this is a good one you're doing here now. Yes. So you just laid it out. The Nigerian last election and all the intricacies, everything playing out. Court
Yep.
case parties and the presidential candidate that was chosen and all these background stories. Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. It actually puts on some anxiety on people. You become anxious. You want to know what's happening because what happens in that country affects a lot. It affects the
Absolutely.
globe. It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Kofa.
You're welcome. And so, of course, this is just an informal in-house panel of thoughts and discussion. My own take on this has always been quite clear. From the point of view of being a medical practitioner,
Okay.
it is not my place, and I really do not understand how anybody can take a position on the implication of the health status of anyone unless you possess the data, the exact medical data of
Hmm.
what's going on. We don't have, you know, medical, information is very private practice, private
Hmm.
knowledge of the world,
What's going?
and therefore it's not easily, subject to public scrutiny. But of course, the argument is always there that being a public figure, that the people, the world, you know, deserve to know
Yeah,
what's going
yes.
on.
Let me come in now. While George also joins us from Toronto, Canada.
Good.
Yeah, George, you're welcome. Can hear you. So let me say something while George is stepping in.
Yeah,
It's important to state this. Nobody wishes his fellow human being ill, mostly when
absolutely.
it comes to ill health. We
Yeah,
don't want anybody dead. You don't want to see, you don't want to hear your neighbor is dying. I mean, that's not a pleasant thing. Death is not nice. Nobody wishes that on anybody. Talk less of a man that has come to this platform of leadership.
yeah,
So it is not about wishing or wanting somebody sick and want wishing somebody dead, or it's about the polity. It's about our political um, um, arrangement. Now, this man has been proclaimed the winner, even though it's still being contested. So, the man that has been proclaimed the winner, we should know about his welfare, his health. We should know how he's moving, because he is going to be taking us on the next 4 years or thereabout. So we need to understand how he's faring. Do you understand? So a lot of
super.
people are taking this whole thing out of context. It's not,
Yeah,
nobody's wishing ill. We're not casting doom. We're not spilling uh, um, jinx or spell on anybody. We're
yeah,
only interested in him because he's supposed to lead. So if you're going to lead us, we need to know how you're faring. We need to understand,
mhm,
what's happening to you in a
yeah,
yes, in a positive way. So
yeah,
this is more like it. So Nigerians are curious, even though his leadership is being contested, but they are curious. They want to know, where has he been in the past 35 years? What is happening to his body? What is happening to his health? You know. So Dr. Du, maybe this is how I see it. Or George is in here. George could take it there too. George, are you? Can you hear us? Are you?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly,
Great.
and I'm
It's
following
good
up
to
with
have
what
you,
is
George.
really
It's good to
going
have
on
you.
and where we are now.
Yes.
When you are a public servant, there are certain things about you that you should not, that you should not
Hi.
allow the public to know about. The
Okay.
people that gave us democracy are showing us the way things are done. And we are still in our adolescent age when it comes to democracy. So if we want to copy them in their democracy, we have to copy a lot of things. When the Queen of England was sick, the world knew about her state of affairs until the very point when she passed away. may her soul rest in perfect peace, the media world knew instantly. And when you talk about places like North America, like the presidents, today we're talking about former President Carter. The world is knowing, his medical history. They know now where he stands and everything pertaining to him. Why is it only in Nigeria when a leader comes out to lead us, all of a sudden it becomes a secret that, their medical condition? It is not supposed to be so. This is something that ought to be a public knowledge. From history, Yaradua, the same thing happened to him. We know how much of the government money that was spent on the man. Even when he died, nobody said anything for several weeks. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Now, so our outgoing president was almost 100 and something days in the hospital. Nobody knew nothing about it. It's all about secrecy. And now this man is coming back again after 35 days away. And then there are allegedly some wires all over him, which has been authenticated that yes, it is real. And since Dr. Kafo is here, he will tell us a little bit more about this particular thing. I think they call it, is it a PPC or something like that? Peripherally inserted central catheter. Is that right? Dr. Kafo, I think you're muted. It's called PICC. Now, I know that he'll tell us a little bit more about this, because this particular thing that he's wired with, which has been authenticated, actually, because a lot of people were saying that it might have been, AI, artificial intelligence, but no. It is right there. No,
it's not. Yes, it's not anything artificial. It's not anything
It is real.
doctored. It's real.
Yes.
He has wires on him coming from a medical attention. Dr. Okafor, what's that? You are a doctor and you know better. What are those wires on?
Yeah. Before I go, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Before I thank you, George, and welcome to the show. Before I go into all that, I want to quickly, review what we were saying before. First of all, that while you might have a case for the presidential elects, the announced presidential elects, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having returned from Europe, and having as evidence of ongoing health challenges, we'll call it a shunt, just for short, um, as evidence of being unwell. The fact remains that we are yet to get. Yes, you're right. In due course, I hope the campaign team is listening, and will let Nigerians know what's going on. But we don't have the mandate, because we don't have the data. We don't have that information to use that as to infer from that, a severity of ill health. You can use this shunt for several things, and none of them, most of them, not life threatening at all. This is just a way of getting you to get. For example, you can use for antibiotics. So you're ill, you have a pneumonia, and you are trying to get some, so that you don't keep having to poke the patient. You create a shunt through which medication can be given very easily. I think everybody's entitled to good treatment, and that is probably uh, the problem with this line of reasoning, because you cannot say a shunt, which is used standard of practice everywhere. There are people we use shunts, we put in the hospital every day and then discharge them. So it is not a sign of any great malady or any serious jeopardy through the person of the presidential elect on the Nigerian political system or polity. But having said that, one also has to. I want to go back to what Judge was saying. When we talk about democracy and how it is practiced abroad, in the West, we have to be careful. You know, Anything you do without putting it in historical context would make you, run through all these, you know, um, mistaken perception and perspectives. The fact of the matter is that we are very new to democracy. I keep saying this to everybody. And we are at the rising, part of that curve, whereas that other people have crested it and are descending. The American political process went through all kinds of things. The 22nd and 24th president, Grover Cleveland, had an illness which he hid from the people. They actually did that surgery on a boat just to keep it out of people because there was something going on in the country, and they didn't want to demoralize the country further by announcing that he had throat cancer. That he was treated for that, and then he went on to help manage the country out of the depression of the 19th century. It was only later, much later after that, that this was revealed to people that President Grover was that sick. So it's not, we can't say because they are there now. They went through more than 200 years of evolution. There was a practice called couping, when we talk about political malpractice. There's so many instances, but the great Edgar Cayce, Allan Poe, the poet and short story novelist, is purported to have died from that process. Great mind. Because the American people will take you during election, the thugs will take you and lock you up somewhere and give you alcohol to drink so that you'll be inebriated, and then they'll now take you to a pool and print your hand and change your dress and take you somewhere else. And they probably died to Allan Poe and then abandoned, and he died from alcohol intoxication. So we are going through a process, we know that. But so we have to be careful to look at the issues. The issue here is not one of medical treatment, but one of, more of morality. Is the election properly conducted? And if not, can we have a proper process in court for that to be adjudged? And this is what the leading opponents in this case, people like the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, is saying. Let's peacefully conduct a respectful presidential election tribunal and await the outcome. Putting our our trust and our hope and our faith on the judicial process. But the medical thing is risky because if we worry about somebody who is looking hale and hearty from the recent video of his arrival, and say because he has a shunt, tomorrow you and I could have a shunt in our hands, doesn't mean that we are moribund. And so as a doctor, it's not enough evidence to stage anything on. What is more important as far as I'm concerned is his performance. How is he performing? He's working without assistance. Yeah. He's talking clearly. And so I hasten to say, I hesitate to say that there's a lot of there's any great store to be placed on that from a strictly objective point of view.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one, Dr. Dumebi. But the thing is, times have changed, and we're in a time when there's this awakening. A lot of people are awoken to the realities of life, and part of life is politics.
Yes.
Leadership, and it affects all the corners of all the fabrics of what we live for. Yes, you talked about Toby, the petition in court over the disputed presidential election. Yeah, that's real issue, and we're following it. The Labour Party candidate has been going through all the challenges. Peter Obi filed a court petition and is challenging the whole outcome of the last election. He's disputing it. He's saying the whole thing isn't what it is. Yes, we also agree with you on the shunt thing. But one fact is this, this is talking drums, and we laid out pure, we laid out raw. One fact remains that we can't be having a reputation of something. Yes, America had that situation back then, but ours is almost becoming like a norm. We've had it, Yaradua, Buhari, now it's this man. And all of it you see cumulated into failure in governance. It broke down governance, it broke down everything economically, everything that concerns the politics in Nigeria. So why are we alive again and seeing another one play out, Dr. Dumebi? I mean, how do you let a repetition of something keep going on, and we're not standing and saying, listen, stop this. You
Yeah,
know,
let me take it from here, Massive.
that's
Let me take it from
my
this point of view.
all
I
right.
hear you. Let me take it from this point of view, this perspective. Now, assuming there was no, you know, electoral problems during the election, there was no
Mhm.
controversy, no confusion, and we had a
Yeah.
proper process, and therefore got the result we have today. We will still have reason to, like you're saying, to remove all that confusion and all that, smoke, and just say we had properly conducted, and then we had, the outcome as we have it today. Will you see? You will still have reason cause to say, "Hey, hold up, what's the health of the president-elect?" Without any, of course, any distracting controversy over the electoral process. What's the health? We need to know. We ought to know. But my point is, it's a valid position. It's not. It shouldn't be confused with the election. I'm trying to say it shouldn't be confused with what happened during the election. It's a valid position to argue for knowing, because it's a public figure and it's tied to the well-being of the country and the people of the country. But until we do have that, we cannot guesstimate on what that situation is my position. As a doctor, I need to make clear diagnosis
Okay.
and
Yes,
then design my management to that
I need to say,
diagnosis. I don't
I
make
need to
diagnosis
say
on
something.
supposition.
I need to
So
yes.
say
what I'm
something.
saying is,
We understand. We
our
understand where you're.
key
We
and
understand
our
your.
approach
Yes.
should be to be informed, that we need to be informed as a people of how our president-elect is doing. And until that happens, there's very little ground for supposing that there's danger, because we don't have that information. We are rather, that would be rather
They
Okay,
did
wait
they
a
did
minute.
so
Wait a
well.
minute. Hold on a
His
second.
camp,
Hold
his
on.
camp
Hold
did
on.
so well to
Hold on.
put a lot of things.
The point is this. The
Um,
point is
yeah.
this. The point is that we are in 2023, not in 1948
uh-huh.
or 1936.
Okay.
What used to be those days, we didn't have the opportunity. We saw when it started coming out, the Polaroid picture came out. You can get your picture instantly. That was from the old system, and up until today, now you can snap with your own phone and get every kind of and video, every kind of pictures and the videos that you want. I'm coming from from that aspect of it. Today is 2023. The point about this is this: Nigerians have a very, very important concern and feel that concern over the health of the person who is going to rule them based on the past history. But yet, I understand where Dr. Dumebi is coming from in regards to that at where we are today, where we are currently, the most important question is the 93 people registered to vote for this election. And then we have the PVC that was introduced to give us accurate upload of this election. But on the day of the election, 10 p.m. Nigerian time, the system was shut down. And up until today, we've not been given the reason why that is so. So Peter Obi and the rest of the other candidates are actually pursuing and questioning the process. Now the case is with the tribunal. We've not had anything. People are saying, and there have more than 100,000 people that have signed signatures, saying that we need to have an open court where everybody can see the process. Kenya did it. And they came up. They were able to announce the election within that specified period. What Nigerians are saying is, we don't want this process to come whereby we're going to swear him in and continue with the process with the tribunal. We did it in 1979. It came out within a period of time before the inauguration. So right now, because of the question and because of all the flaws and the inappropriate happenings that took place, what we are saying with the tribunal, please come up, sit, hear the questions that are being asked and all the petitions that are before you before this man is inaugurated on 29th of May. So that is the question. But another question that I want to pose on this floor is, when Mahmoud Yakub came out and made promises openly, and made the people think that they are going to get a flawless, accurate, fair, and legible election. And that's not what took place. Everything else went fine, except when it came to the presidential, presidential election. So there are questions. So even going to the Justice Department now, to the Supreme Court to, maybe bring about 12 people to decide our fate, we are still questioning it, because why are they delaying? Number one. Number two, we have seen the kangaroo system that has brought us so many illegitimate answers. So that's where we are today. It is all about questions. It's all about the love of our country. And what we want to do is to ensure that the process is fair and legible, legitimate. And then, hey, if after everything is all the questions and answers, congratulations, Your Honorable, Your Excellency, I'm a Tinubu. But where it must be, if you want to answer Your Excellency, like one of the candidates said, the process must be excellent. You can't use a kangaroo system the way things used to be. It happened 4 years ago, it happened 8 years ago, and has been happening in our country when we're doing selection rather than election. It cannot continue to happen, not in this present highly technological world that we are in. Nigerians are at the point where they want answers, and let the Supreme Court, the tribunal, hurry up and give us answers before the inauguration. That's really where.
Thank you, George. You've obviously, been really affected by, like a lot of Nigerians, by what's happening here, and your heart is full and heavy with what's going on. Ms. Mark Godwin, do you have anything to follow up with on that?
Yes. It's just to add to a little to what George said. George has said it all. So it's not about it's not about wishing anybody ill. It's about doing things properly, and it's time to do things properly. We've been given all the opportunity to become our better self, so we can't be living in the dark when everybody is in the light. So it's time to do that. And yes, you talked. The theme for the discussion was the P2B's petition in court over the disputed presidential election. And yes, you get some insight into that. We're still waiting for the final verdict, and we hope the court will live up to its what it stands for. It is the court now that that it's being judged. We're all looking up to the court and what come out of it. So we wish Bola Ahmed Tinubu well, but we want more openness, we want more transparency in everything that concerns him, since he has now said he's now been taken that he's president. So we want to know how he's faring, what's happening, what was he doing in France. I have evidence, pictures and stuff of him in France, but we're not bothered about that. So what's happening, how is he faring, and we wish him well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. So well said. To round up, Nigeria is an important country in the world. It's a rising global power, regional power, and is predicted to be an emerging global power in the future. We are hopeful that, in spite of the difficulties we are passing through in our young democracy, that we will eventually get there. As in all affairs of mankind, time, it's what's, we finally, look forward to improving the form and nature of things. And we hope that will also be true in this case. In time, we hope the presidential electoral tribunal will sit and probably properly adjudicate on issues. This doesn't have to be boxing time frame after 1 year of the inauguration, because that's just simply the way these things work. If it has to continue after that, it continues. But we hope that in the fullness of time, that we get, clarity on what is going on, and that also with that clarity comes peace and prosperity for all Nigerians. I want to round up by saying again that we would also hope that we continue to get transparency and disclosure on the health status of our presidential elect, whilst, like you say, wishing him well and hoping that everything turns out for the best for him, health wise. I have no grounds as a doctor for worrying about it because I have not seen any signs that I can read as worrisome. But we hope that whatever is going on, uh, which will be revealed to us in due time, uh, works out well for him. Thank you all for coming on the show.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you. He says, thank you so very much. It's been a wonderful one indeed. And
Yes.
I just want to thank you, Mike Godwin, Dr.
Thank
Octafo, for everything that we have done here today. And
Yes.
he looks well. He looks fluffy. That's one thing I when I saw him, I was very
That's an
happy.
important point. Yeah,
He was very fluffy. He
yeah.
looks good,
Was
So
not assisted.
we wish him well. We wish him
It was
well.
Thank you
independent
very
with his ambulation. So we are hopeful.
So we'll come again next
Thank
week.
you all.
This
Yeah,
is
same
Talking
time.
Drums, same time. Talking Drums, we say everything. Before we go, let's give. There's a man called Halle Belafonte. I guess you guys know him. Halle
The singer,
Belafonte.
the late singer, I
Uh,
think he's
yeah, the late
he's
singer.
diseased
Yeah,
now. I think. Yeah,
yeah, he passed on this afternoon. Harry
yeah,
Belafonte is late. These were the men that opened the door for a lot of young acts, a lot of people. Harry Belafonte, he's Jamaican, he lived in America. He sang the popular Coconut song.
yeah.
He was all there. He opened the way for a lot of things, music, entertainment, films, movies. Harry Belafonte is late. He died 93 out of a heart problem, but he was dead and he did a lot. He made impact in the world. So we want to wish the family this period that they stay uh, blessed because their father was an icon, a legend, and we pray he rests in power. Thank you.
He's so rest in perfect peace, and the Lord to help his family in these difficult times.
These difficult times.
Thank you,
All right, so
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you
Viewers
for that.
around the world, we thank you. Until next week, we'll see you again.
Thank you. Thank you all.